Just like the previous week, we had one of our three best prop bets fall out before the fight had even taken place, and that's what happened last week as Chase Sherman was called off of his fight from Carl Williams, and that just nullifies one of our three best prop bets. But with the remaining two, we end up going 1-1. We end up losing on the Gerald Meerschaert inside the distance, but we get some of it back with the Christian Rodriguez and Raul Rosas Jr. fight to go to a decision at plus 110, hoping to replicate a similar type of result, or even better. We got another three best prop bets for you guys coming right up. But before I do, quick reminder: PFL tonight, LFA tonight, Cage Warriors tomorrow, as well as Fury FC on Sunday. All four of those events will be fully broken down on my Patreon, link in the description below. I got you covered for all those regional events, and not to mention obviously the UFC breakdown starting for UFC Vegas 71, which is next weekend's card, as well as I believe there's a double header of Bellator next weekend, which will all start on the Patreon and then eventually be put out on podcast form for the public. But the Patreon folks get all that information first and foremost. But obviously the most notable is the fact that those regional events all covered on there. I got you guys. Check out the link in the description below. All right, let's get right into these three prop bets. And the first one that we're going to go with is in the first fight of the night in Lucy Pudilova against Jocelyn Edwards. I'm going to be going with Pudilova winning by decision, as I believe that she is going to be putting on a much better performance than Jocelyn Edwards, specifically in the grappling realm. Now, that's a point of emphasis that we've seen with Pudilova over her last couple of fights, specifically since she's joined up with SBG Ireland. We see her regularly competing in grappling competitions, and we see that she's now up to a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. But it's that grapple-heavy approach that she showed in her UFC debut against Yinan Wu, where she was able to establish that top position and rain down big shots and get the finish. However, Jocelyn Edwards a little bit better in terms of scrambling and getting out of bad positions. However, she still struggles in terms of getting up from bottom. Specifically, in the 2-fight losing streak she had before this 2-fight winning streak that she's on, she got taken down 9 times and controlled for over 23 minutes by, I believe it was Carol Hosa and Jessica Rose Clark. Lucy Pudilova could absolutely replicate that, and her striking is good enough to deal with the kick-heavy approach of Edwards. That will allow her to blend in a takedown behind the striking and start grinding out this fight and taking home a decision victory, which currently sits at plus 130. Second up, we're going to go with the Gaston Bolanos and the Aaron Phillips fight to not go to a decision. A little bit of a chalky price here at minus 170, but I'm fully expecting violence in the striker versus grappler matchup. Bolanos was a little bit of a questionable signing to the UFC, considering he only had a 1-fight winning streak. I don't even know if you can call it a streak going into his UFC signing, but not to mention a 6-3 record. He's a kickboxer. He is known for his glory kickboxing style and has shown off some pretty highlight reel-esque finishes in his MMA career. A lot of it coming from his spinning techniques, and that's what the UFC brass is hoping he brings into the UFC, not to mention that big knockout power. So on the Bolanos side, knockout power threat. That's where the fight doesn't go to decision. We'll probably end up cashing. But on the Aaron Phillips side, BJJ black belt has known to be able to take fights to the ground, and I think that he has a significant advantage in that realm, that he'll be able to find a submission victory should they hit the mat at any point in this fight. However, the main thing here to look at is the poor striking defense on the Aaron Phillips side, and even though he'll have a height and reach advantage in this fight, I think we'll see Bolanos blast into that pocket, land his big shots, and land that straight down the pipe, which will eventually drop Aaron Phillips and find that big knockout victory for Gaston Bolanos. But just to be on the safe side, we're just going to take the fight doesn't go to a decision straight up at minus 170. And just as I did last week with Chase Sherman and some round props, I'm going to do the same thing here on Max Holloway. Round 4 plus 1100, round 5 plus 1600, as I think that the volume-based style and cardio advantage of Max Holloway is going to end up being too much for Arnold Allen, who hasn't seen a 5-round fight since joining the UFC. Yes, his fight against Calvin Kattar was scheduled for 5 rounds, but Calvin Kattar unfortunately did not have the durability or the lack of injury proneness to see the 4th or 5th round. But we know Max Holloway has a ton of durability. He'll eat some big shots early here from Arnold Allen, but as this fight starts to wear on and as Max starts to put his foot on the gas, I think Allen will get too far behind to catch up, and we'll see Holloway eventually find that finish. Whether it happens in the 4th or the 5th, I'm not sure, but thankfully we get a good enough number here to sprinkle a little bit of both, and hopefully we can come out with cash, whether he cashes in the 4th or the 5th. I think Max Holloway comes away with the finish, but I'm going to go with the round props rather than taking him inside the distance, because just I'm a little bit that much more greedy. But yeah, I mean, gotta do it. All right, there you guys go. 3 best prop bets for UFC Kansas City. I will be back on Monday to break down UFC Vegas 71 for you guys for the MMA Lawcast. Hopefully you guys are able to come through for that and check that out. Again, appreciate all the love and support as of late. We are just about to reach that 6,000 subscriber mark again, and I cannot wait, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Again, love you guys, appreciate you guys. Good luck on all your action this week, and I'll see you guys again next week. Peace.